Hey guys, this is the 5th episode of Vedastein and I'm very glad that you once again found the way to this video. Now today we're going to build, well, the transition area between the old town and the station area kind of thing. And we'll build the main square of the city, not the, well, old market square in the old town, but the biggest square in the city, the, let's say, most important, or however you might call it. Now, as always, there's a timestamp in the description. If you're not interested in the process of building all that, you can just skip the time lapse and only watch the cinematics if you only want to see how the city developed and not, or no, in what way the city developed and not how it developed, or, well, you know what I mean. Okay, for those of you that are still here, thank you. There were a few things I'd like to mention in this episode. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the, let's say the type of buildings I use here. Because once again, I got a comment by my, let's say, fellow viewer, band fanatic, train fanatic, however. The same guy, I posted a picture or a screenshot of the comment of last time. And he once again said that these houses I use, these faint built houses, aren't that fitting or don't fit that good. I wouldn't say so, because one of the cities I use as an inspiration is the city of Pirna in Germany, just a few minutes outside of my town. And when it's about the city layout, I really, work how this city looks like. And there, you can see it here on the screen I have, or on Google Maps here. There is the station area and the old town. And between these two areas, places, however, is, this, I don't think there's a real English term for it. In German we call it Gründerzeit, Founders Age in English. And there's this area. Because what you need to know is that there were times when the city was relatively small and only had its medieval core, and later on during industrialization, so about let's say 1860 and until maybe 1910, kinda in that period, the city grew extremely, because there were factories that needed workers and all those workers had to live somewhere, and in general the population, not just in the city but in the whole country, in actually the whole world, the population rose. And so in many German cities you can see that specific style most of Feinbild's or actually all of the Euro row buildings by Feinbild have, and that's the Gründerzeit style, Founders Age style. And that also is the case in our city here in Vedastein. As a typical German or European city, it had its old core, its medieval core, or not really medieval, but its old core. And during industrialization it just exploded and, the city expanded. And that's why these houses are really fitting, because again, you see it here on the screen. In Pirna you have kinda the exact same houses, so 3 to 5 story houses of this style. The same style as faint built buildings, and that was just the first thing I'd like to mention. The only opposite compared to these buildings in bigger cities is that in bigger cities, for example in Berlin, they have very small backyards and a lot of back houses, and it often was the case that you had the one facade toward the street and 3 houses behind the main facade, and yeah, it was a really dense building. However, and here I just skipped what I did because I simply placed buildings. Maybe it wouldn't be that exciting. So whereas in big cities you had this dense building, in the smaller cities like that one, you have the main facades or the buildings towards the street, and only a few of these back houses. Most of the area in between the streets and the houses is filled with gardens, or maybe in modern times some new build smaller houses. Here in that case I placed a supermarket in the area between the houses. That's also quite common, and I figured we really need more supermarkets because obviously the people have to buy some, or have to buy their stuff somewhere. And yeah, I chose an Aldi. That store is actually quite common around the world because they may have started in Germany, but I think now they have stores in every continent, even in Africa as far as I know. And yeah, the only thing I don't really like are the parking spaces that are attached to the asset. I couldn't remove them with Prop It Up. I might just do a local version of it without those parking spaces. Let's see. For the cinematics, they are still in, and if I remember correctly, I at least didn't record them or show them, because you have the entryway and that's blocked with parking spaces, so obviously that doesn't work. Now here, the border between the public area of the parking space of the supermarket and the backyard of the other buildings. When it's about parking spaces, as here, it's they most of the time look a bit monotonous, I guess. So I always use decals over decals to make them look a bit more, in every way realistic, but also a bit more exciting and less boring, but every time in a way that it's still believable. So what I often use are the leaves made by Ronix and those dirty decals made by Avanya, if I remember correctly. They were made for these big piles of coal or ore or what it was, but they are very, very, very good for places if you want to make them look a bit more, let's say, old, rundown, grungy, whatever. Now here I would have loved to build more like this. You'll see what I mean in just a few seconds. I placed a garden in the backyard, and I would have loved to do that more, because I think it looks really nice to have a garden in the backyard of such buildings. Again, that's that's how it's done very often. Of course, what is essential for every backyard in Germany are washing lines, clothing lines. the lines where you hang your clothes after washing them to let them dry in the sun. That's common is even not enough. That's really typical for... I don't think it's typical for Germany. I guess that's how it's done all over the world. Well, yeah. However, it doesn't matter that much. Here, I placed a real garden with plants and all that. Again, that's pretty common, I would say. At least I really like it. Now we're done, or not really done. For today we're done with the transition area, and we start building the square. Now the square is inspired by the, and I know I'm gonna butcher that name, by the Vedastein Namestie. I guess that's how it's called. Vedastein Namestie from Bratislava, the capital of Slovakia. That's another city I use as an inspiration for Vedastein. So here we have a big square, a long square. That's the most important one of the city, and at the end of it, the theater. And when it's about the theater, I'm inspired by, or I let me inspired by the German city of Altenburg, that shares kind of the same history as our Vedastein. So Altenburg was the capital of a small, a local lord until I would say 1871, when Germany was unified. And so they had their own national theater and a big castle and what else, national post and all that stuff that national states have. And here we have the same. So that theater would be the national theater of the former duchy or duchy of Vedastein. Even though I don't think that the duchy would have the same name as the city, but there will be a history and lore episode in the future where I don't build anything, but explain the lore and the history behind the city. I have some really nice ideas for that, but more on that in the future. Now here we actually built the first building of the old town with one of the old city gates. Now I used the old town bridge tower from Prague as the gate because I love this building. I love how it turned out. Well, I know it's not that nice to praise myself, but I really like how it turned out, and I wanted to have it in the city. And in the end, it will fit pretty good, as I thought. Here we have the remains of the moat that once upon a time surrounded the city. So when this square was built, the mayor thought they should what is the word? They shouldn't destroy the whole moat because it's kind of historical. So they, kept it. That was the word I was looking for. They kept it. And there's still a bit of water in the moat. I used Ronix's creek decals for that because it would have been it really would have been too small to use real water. And just some stones and foliage around it, so it really looks like a small creek. Now this is kind of the extension of the river we built in the second episode. The major part, or the major amount of water, or the bigger amount of water of this river will flow through a tunnel into the big river, into the Veda. And this is just a small let's say, side arm that flows still where it flowed some 100 years ago. Just as, well, a bit of historical stuff in the city. These trees is what I, let's say, copied from Bratislava. As I said, and I'm not going to say the word again, this big square in Bratislava, that was the kind of the pattern for that one. Is a really long square with big trees left and right, and in the end you have the theater, and I really wanted to do the same here, even though our place here is not that long, but still it's enough to have the same look. And as we're here in Germany, this place is, yeah, pretty busy, I would say. So I placed a few pathways on the place, and some kiosks, some small, let's say, stalls where local artists try to make some money by painting tourists or sell some paintings of the city. Now, what I didn't mention until now, you saw it a few minutes ago, these buildings on the right now, these relatively modern yellow buildings, they are made by me. I uploaded the originals of them, I guess 2 years ago. Now I really wanted to use them in this project, so I had to rework them because they really didn't look that nice. I will update those on Steam if I have enough time this weekend now. And yeah, that is my plan. Just so you know what it's all about and what these buildings are. Here I'm working on the street, or on the major crossroad in the city. Or no, not really the major run. There will be a bigger one, but still that's a pretty big one, because we have this big street with 4 lanes directly next to the big square that connects the road next to the big river with the two highways on the map. So this street will be quite busy, and of course we had to build a wheel crossroad with a few turning lanes and all that. Now here just a few benches to, on the one side, have people walking on the square, and on the other side have people, well, interacting with the area, and that way just sitting there. And when I built it, I really thought I would have loved to have this place when I had my Christmas special 4 months ago now, because seeing this square with a Christmas market, I guess it would look pretty nice. If this series is still going on in 8 months, we maybe have our Christmas special here, but who knows what will be in 8 months. Now slowly but steady we're coming closer to the end of this time lapse. There is not much else to say about what we're doing here. So for now, enjoy the remaining few minutes. I would say goodbye for today. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. I would love to answer all of your questions to the series. If you want to see some, well, special things, just post it in the comments. I'm sure, we can think of that when we build all that. If you like this series, please like it, please share it. It really does mean a lot to me, because I put a lot of effort in this series. I mean, I would build the city anyway, because I really like the idea of the city, and but uploading and all that needs quite a lot of time and work and rendering and cutting. So if you like it, please share it and like it. It's really, really appreciated. Now, as I said, I think it's enough commentary for now. And that's it from my side. In a few minutes, there will be the cinematics. And goodbye. We'll see us next time.